Hi guys, this is Rahul here from myview.rahulheavy.net, which is my blog. Here in this tech talk, I'm going to talk about generic constraints. Actually, since couple of days, I've been getting this mail like what is generic constraint and how to implement that. And I thought it would be a good idea to give you some kind of live demo rather than writing a blog and explaining that. So I thought of recording one video and explaining the same structure out of there. So there are certain prerequisites of generic constraints. Basically, I like you guys to go ahead and learn generics first and then apply yourself in the generic constraints. Because this is something which sits on the top of generics. Generics, the basic structure is like if you need to reutilize your logic, uh, then you need to decouple. You need some kind of way to decouple that particular thing out there. So that's the way, like when then we attach type at the runtime stuff at the runtime. Now this is the stuff which I'm going to say that I'm going to reuse my code over here, and but this is kind of extended thing. I'm going to apply my constraints on the top of that as well. So let's go ahead and create some kind of structure. So let's create saying that obviously I'm going to say my kind of t, which is I will supply this type t there, and let's give some name here. Let's saying that generic method would be fine, and then here my type will go, and then this will be my body, and let's create an object because I'm returning of type t, so it will need some kind of return. And the best way is to create an object is like newing up that thing and just returning that stuff. So here's the basic thing, the basic body structure. But here is the Redis quickly, which is complaining is like it's saying that cannot create an instance of the type parameter t because it doesn't have the new constraint. So this is where constraint comes into the picture. So in order to new up that thing, I need to say, okay, with this where keyword, it will apply that constraint, and it will say you need to new up this guy with that new operator. So now everything is perfect, everything is working fine, no squigglies. Now I need to attach, as I said, like I need to attach some kind of type to that, and the best type is to create a type, and let's create a type, some kind of class itself, and I say let's create a constructor and say something, and let's say printing constructor a, or one would be fine, and again create one class, and say this time my class 2, and this time I would like to create a parameterized one. I will say something like int I double d, and let's print something, printing parents would be fine. Now in order to invoke that particular thing, what I need to do here is I need to call that thing. So, and here I need to supply my type. So type I have created my class 1. That's it. Control F5 and printing constructor 1. Perfect. So as you can see here, I created a generic type body here. I supplied the constraint, and then I attached a class, type, supply the type over here to this particular body. So this has become, now at this level, this t has become like of type class 1, and then it is executing that way. Right? Now let's supply something else. Generic method, I created class 2 as well, and when I do so, it complains, it's saying It must have a public parameter list constructor in order to use parameter t as generic method. Now here's the thing, I cannot complete the signatures just by matching some kind of stuff like this, because this is not acceptable here. And in order to fix this guy, either I can go ahead and have this, and I can simply copy and paste this guy, and I can say like printing constructor 2, and if I just run now, then this guy will work, but my parameterized stuff is not working. So this is kind of constraint over here. Now I can go ahead and now okay, that's fine. For now let's stick to my class 1. So we'll try to improvise this example as we go further, maybe in the next video. So now let's stick to the class 1, and let's say I have a method as well, method A. It's doing something. Basically it's going to print again. Let's say printing method A. Let's copy this guy, and I'll say this thing method B. Now I like some way to basically, I like to invoke that particular thing as well. If I just run this guy now, it's just printing CTOR1, CTOR2. That means class 1, class 2 with their parameter list constructor. But I like my methods also to get invoked. How can I invoke that? So I can supply chain of constraints over here. So in order to fix that thing up, I can say my class 1 to get inherited from into this T. So my T is now having 2 constraints, which is of my class 1, and then it's newing up this instance. Then obviously my class 2 is complaining because now T is essentially become class 1 at the compile time itself. So I can just comment this guy, and now if I need to invoke that thing, now my obj dot will have those methods, and with that being said, when I just run, now it's working fine. My constructor, method A, method B, everything goes well, right? Now let's think something like I mean, this pretty much looks okay, but how about can we supply multiple classes? Let's try that. Oops. I made a mistake. It's okay. It's good to make mistakes, huh? Now it's saying that it's complaining. Basically, it's saying my class 2 must come before any other constraints. So this is the classic example of multiple inheritance, so which C# doesn't support. That is why it's complaining. If I, as soon as I just get rid of that, everything comes well. So if I need to implement my class 2, then I have to only put that my class 2 over there, and then everything will work like silky smooth. And then how can I supply multiple steps, multiple constraints over here? The other way is doing that is by implementing interface. Let's say I have an interface, and I say my interface 1, it has got some method. Let's say method IA, and again I got an interface which is interface 2, and maybe would be fine, right? Now I can go like this and interface to, and then new. The signature looks fine, everything looks fine, but this guy complains, right? Because uh, this expects to have some, because it says like it must be convertible to generic constant, I mean interface one, and that the other thing. So it's basically expecting like some kind of class which is implementing both, right? Some kind of structure which is having everything in place. So that's why it's saying that convertible class. So let's say I have some kind of class which says my class implementing all, and I just say I interface one. So let's implement this explicitly. And I interface 2. I can do the same thing. So there is explicitly and just implementing, it's copying that complete signature. So in case if you have um, some kind of naming conflict, then this is the best way. I'll just get rid of that. I'm not having any kind of naming conflict, and that's fine. And here I'll say something, I'll just say like printing interface A would be fine, and same thing will go here. I guess B would be fine here. Now let's get rid of this. Now let's put something, my class implementing all. Now this guy is complaining because I am not inherited. So I can go ahead and inherit my class 1, and now this Redis quickly goes, and I can say my type is this guy. Now everything looks fine. How about one point to note here? If I just remove this guy and put this guy at the last after interfaces, this will complain. Any type, actual type should come first, right? After this, only interface is expected. So class should come first, then interface should follow. This is the basic rule. Now this is looking fine. This is going fine as well. If I just run, then printing method A, printing method B, and printing constructor 1. So which is basically constructor 1, method A, method B. That's the thing. And okay, now let's try to have class level stuff here. So okay, before that, let's try to invoke that interface methods, and obj dot method AI and obj dot right. Now if I run the same, now everything is going well. Constructor 1, method A, method B, printing interface A, printing interface B. So this is one way of implementing generic constraints, and you can think like that. You can improvise this particular example more deep whenever you're writing your actual app, whenever you're writing your actual business app, and then you can segregate your stuffs, reusable stuffs in something in one place, and then just try to use that particular thing. This example can be as complex as you want to do, and let's say you would like to implement this explicitly. Let's say I like to get rid of that, and let's try to see when I implement this guy explicitly. You see this cannot access explicit implementation of IA, because in that particular thing what will happen, it needs to have that access of interface 1 as well. Then only it can access this method IN, because it is of type interface 1 of method IA. That is why it is referring to that particular type, and then when it becomes of that type also, then only you can actually invoke that particular member. So this is one point to note here. Initially I had simple implementation, that's fine. In that particular case I had all the method. As soon as I went ahead with that explicit implementation, this is expected to have that particular type as well, and that's why I inherited with that my interface one. Then my red squiggly went out, and I can simply go ahead with the same chaining. Now okay, now this guy is complaining. It's saying the method or is not implemented. So there is a reason, because I didn't put anything over here. I can just put that copy and paste this thing, and just to improvise this, let's see, yeah, because I just ran it again, right? So now it's working fine, it's going well. So I hope you have liked this video. In the coming section we'll delve further around generic constraints, or with some more logic and some meaningful structure out of that. Till then, stay tuned and happy coding.